Hello, I'm Michael Elliott, and our next guest is Shane Dyer, President and CEO of Arrayent. Shane, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Michael.
So Shane, if you could, for our audience, just give us a little brief background about yourself and about Arrayent.
Sure. So Arrayent came out of a research group in Stanford University, and the goal was to transform the way that products that weren't our cell phones or laptops would start connecting to the Internet of Things. And what Arrayent does is it helps these big trusted brands make the transition to connected products from unconnected products by providing them software that runs on their devices, cloud software and mobile software to create really, really wonderful, engaging, new connected products.
So there's a plethora of consumer-facing smart home and Internet of Things here at CES.
It's that year.
It is that year, absolutely. But there's also companies behind the IoT scene. Arrayent is one of those, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So we're never the brand in front of the customer. So an example of customers of Arrayent are people like Whirlpool. And if you go on, you can see their new line of connected appliances. We power them. Brands like Osram Sylvania, they're the #1 commercial consumer lighting provider, worldwide. Who are using Arrayent in their gateways that connect to their light bulbs to provide that connected lighting experience. Or customers like Chamberlain, the #1 garage door manufacturer that's basically making great products that help you understand if you've left your garage door open and open it when you're, open or close it remotely. So those are the guys that we power.
Okay, so how does that technology work? Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Sure. So there's a little bit of embedded communication software that runs in the appliance itself. And we really believe that things should be things. Nobody wants a big computer-powered refrigerator. We basically want to make sure our appliances continue to be reliable and simple and secure, and that's what Arrayent does. And then it provides all the cloud infrastructure globally. Most of these brands have, are global brands, so they're, deploying not just in North America, but in Asia and in Europe and in South America. And we provide the server infrastructure for them to do that all over the world. And then lastly, we really help stitch this together with the mobile application engines to solve a lot of the security problems and the usability problems so that they get that 5-star app experience with that new connected product.
So APIs are really the foundation of connecting to partners.
That's right.
So what advice do you have for manufacturers regarding this?
Well, for a manufacturer, the first one is this is a very new element of product design. You have to think about all these elements you didn't have to do before in terms of mobile application, in terms of figuring out how to integrate with other data, energy data or weather services to put together a truly great product. And Arrayent provides the platform that makes that very easy for these manufacturers to do, and then also deploy that reliably at scale.
Okay, so many smart home service providers are offering a broad range of products to customers. So what advice would you have for manufacturers on really how to approach the integration with smart home platforms?
Well, the most important part for them is really, what Arrayent provides is this Switzerland platform where they can basically take one product SKU, bring that up to the cloud, and then either use their own mobile application or from that application bridge that to the other important systems that they want to be in. So for instance, 3 or 4 of our customers are in the Works with Nest program, integrating with that platform, or other platforms like Alarm.com for Chamberlain. So the whole idea there is to make sure that these manufacturers control their own data and are real IoT players, and then figure out on their own terms who they want to play with as those ecosystems evolve.
So you've been a player since 2005.
That's right.
I'd love to understand, what have you seen in that change in the past 9 years, 10 years now?
Oh man, it's been great to see this industry come along. The most exciting pieces obviously were as soon as smartphone came, we all of a sudden had this universal remote control in our hands to allow us to think about the products around. I mean, even to the point where for many of these manufactured products, I don't want a big screen on it. I've picked my screen. It's my smartphone or maybe my tablet.
Yep.
So that whole change came through. And then the second piece was really thinking about how the communication layers in our house, the Wi-Fi networks and the others, made it easier for these manufacturers to assume they could put in connected products. And I think the evolution to making that a much more seamless and a much more user-centered experience. So all those were very interesting in watching these first products start to get to the hundreds of thousands and million type scale.
So where do you see it going forward then? What are we going to see, and what's really going to bring the consumer into the play?
Well, I think the first thing, and you have to be very careful at CES and shows like that as well, are the consumers are really coming into this space around point products. They're products that, if you look at the success in the market for a lot of these manufactured products, they have very simple value propositions and they're very simple and easy to use. So there are, way more connected thermostats than there are, full home control George Jetson houses out there.
No, and that's been a reoccurring theme of the people we've had talk. So how do we get beyond that?
Exactly. So I think the piece is the consumers are going to adopt a lot of these point solutions, and it's up to us to figure out how to stitch those together to make a very coherent, connected home, understanding that it's all going to happen at 1, 2, 3, 4 devices at a time, not a widespread replacement of everything in my home. And I think that what we really help these manufacturers through is think about how to create that simple, wonderful, compelling experience for their product, and then figure out how they can work to bridge that into the other ecosystems that also evolve.
And how will Arrayent, achieve that? What's your vision of how to make that achievable?
Well, I think the first thing is we've got this philosophy that things should really be things. If I make my refrigerator really complicated, or if I make my garage door really complicated and computer controlled, that's not what I really want as a consumer. This thing has to last 10 years or 7 years. So we like very simple devices and then move a lot of the complexity to the cloud, because the APIs can be strong enough that we can create these really rich consumer interactions and bring them a lot of the features, whether they're energy features or whether they're messaging features out to inform us what's going on with our house and our life, or what's going on with our loved ones, but still make the products themselves simple, inexpensive, secure, and reliable.
So one of the big questions that is on everybody's mind is around security. What do we need to think about in relation to security with all these different connected devices? Are we opening up Pandora's box of information?
This is a big one, and I think the biggest piece here is IoT security has to be done incredibly thoughtfully and incredibly thoroughly. With our platforms like Arrayent, there's been many, many years of technology development to get that security right for IoT. A lot of the solutions that are coming out are really worrisome because it's a company on their first thing trying to create a lot of this from scratch. So I think I really recommend that the manufacturers that are out there really look towards established platforms that have solved that security problem and have been audited multiple times and tested under fire, rather than trying to roll their own and hope that they have a secure solution.
Excellent. Now, Shane, what haven't we covered?
Oh my Lord! I think one of the most exciting parts that we're starting to see come out there are the acceptance among the consumer of these various different products. I mean, the way I'm going to work with my lighting is just beginning to change. If you're a thermostat manufacturer now and you're not doing a connected thermostat, you're planning on exiting that market. So just watching all these dominoes fall down and having that expectation that this thing just absolutely has to come with an app, I think that's pretty new and it's really exciting.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Shane.
Well, thanks for having me on. Thank you.